welcome to another week of SportsZone. I'm your host, Brendan O'Donnell. We've got a great slate this week. I'm really excited to go through what we've got. It's going to be really fun, lots of fun blocks. I'm excited to get it started with some Texas Rangers, and I've got Gabe Ife and Tyler Luker here. How are y'all feeling today?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
Doing really well. Have y'all been enjoying baseball so far?
Oh, definitely. It's been a great start to the season for pretty much every squad. Nobody's really out of it.
Yeah, I've loved seeing how the new rules play into everything so far. But diving into the Texas Rangers specifically, they started 3-0, and then they slipped a little bit against Baltimore this last week, going 1-2. Could you break down that series a little bit, Tyler? What happened there?
Well, the offense looked a little bit sluggish in those first two games. Only one hit in that series opener. They just looked flat. And then Heaney got lit up in the second game. Offense continued to strike out at a high rate. Of course, getting back into the win column in that third game. And DeGrom looked more like himself. And that is really what led them to victory in that one.
Yeah. So I kind of want to start, I guess, going backwards a little bit. I really think in that Wednesday game, it gave us a glimpse of DeGrom and what Rangers fans should be excited about potentially all season, hoping no injuries occur, of what we could be seeing this whole year. I think he had 11 strikeouts. He just really did amazing. Kind of going back to that Tuesday game, Andrew Heaney did not have a good start at all. It was very rough. It's already starting to give questions to whether he's fit for that fifth starting job. And then in that Monday game, our bats just couldn't get going. John Gray had a good start, which is encouraging to see. But the hitting trend didn't carry till Wednesday because our bats slowly started to figure out by then. But through Tuesday, it kind of gave a little bit of a disturbing trend of not getting too deep into counts and just kind of swinging at the first pitches they'd see, which produced a lot of quick outs and a little disturbing. Well,
yeah, the Rangers are bottom 10 in walk rate. I mean, overall, they're the best hitting team with runners in scoring position. But in that series against the Orioles, they went 2 for 11. Just kind of warning signs. I mean, it's not ideal because Baltimore had a bullpen game in the first one, a Kyle Gibson start in the second, and then the third one was a rookie making his debut. I mean, he's a great rookie, but still.
Yeah, you mentioned DeGrom earlier, and he had a rough start against the Phillies that first week, still managed to pull out the win. But yeah, more exciting looking at him this week. That's probably my most exciting thing that I have for the Rangers so far. What's been most exciting for y'all in the Rangers so far? Gabe, we'll start with you on this one.
So it's a little bit not as noticeable, I guess, if you just start watching the game first inning on. But the bullpen has been really great. Coming into this year, that was really thought to be a concerning part of this team, the roster. They didn't add too many pieces. They added Will Smith. But other than that, it was really weak last year. And so starting off this season, I saw a stat today that says the bullpen currently, as of the time of this recording, has had 21.1 straight scoreless innings. So it has just been great.
Well, and to top it off on that, that's my most exciting thing as well, the bullpen. 21 earned runs as a total for the Rangers pitching staff, only 2 of those against relief pitchers. And their ERA, I mean, 24 and 2/3 innings pitched. Their ERA is around .08, and that is ridiculous for how we expected them to perform this year.
Gabe, I know you touched on it a little bit, or both of y'all did, kind of in that game this past week. We saw more and more of those weaknesses come out. I mean, it was a lot of fun to just keep winning against the Phillies. What do they still need to improve on, Tyler? What are the biggest weaknesses on this team right now?
I mean, like I said before, the walk rate is not good. I mean, the runners in scoring position, not bringing them home really hurt them against the Orioles, but they need to string together at bats, be more patient at the plate, because then they're going to get more results. I mean, you got to expect guys like Corey Seager. They're going to be free swingers, but you need them to hang back a little bit.
Yes, kind of going off of that, there's a pretty noticeable thing in that they definitely do need another impact bat. In order, they have Leody Taveras also coming back, which will hopefully help out with that a little bit. Even though he's mainly known for defense, you hope to get a little bit more improvement, and whether it be over Grossman or Brad Miller in that department. And you need Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, and Ezekiel Duran, a rookie, thought to have really good projections. You need at least one of those, if not all of them, to start hitting better. And then the only other thing would be the back end of the rotation, whether that's looking at Dane Dunning once Odorizzi gets back. It's a little questionable back there as well. So I'd say those are kind of the main areas of improvement for me.
I love it. This week, we've got a series against Chicago, at Chicago, 3-game series. They're a bit of a younger team, 2-3 right now, not as much of a hot start as the Rangers have been on. do we come out with 3 wins out of this, or is it maybe a 2-1, or is this just a bad matchup for the Rangers, Tyler?
I really think they should take at least 2 or 3. I mean, no disrespect to Jeremiah. I know his Cubs are in rebuild mode, but the Rangers should win 2 out of 3. They have Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, and Martin Perez as their 3 starters. Marcus Stroman and Justin Steele both look great in their first 2 outings, but I just think the Rangers just have that advantage over them.
So two games in this one?
At least 2 games.
maybe 3.
I say the same thing, at least 2, maybe 3. Need the bullpen to keep up the strong start, and the guys I mentioned earlier to get off to better starts at the plate.
Sweet. Well, hopefully they come out with a strong record and don't slip up against this Chicago team. Coming up next, we've got the NBA playoff previews. I'm really excited for this one. We're going to break down some of this last seeding, look at the Mavs a little bit. Are they in or out? Find out after the break.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
And welcome back. The NBA has been heating up recently, especially in the Western Conference. From the 5 seed to the 11th seed, only a 4-game difference between those teams. Now, there's only about 2 or 3 games left for a lot of these teams, so the 11th seed's probably not going to jump to the 5, but the 5 could definitely jump to the 8 or 9, and the 11 could probably get up to the 7, 8. Now, joining me here to talk about this, we've got Matthew Watson and Isaiah Ortiz. They're going to break it down a little bit more into depth. Who avoids the play-in? Matthew, who gets that 5-6 seed and doesn't have to get the play-in at all?
Well, I'm going to tell you who it's not. It's not going to be the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks are not
already.
Yeah, they're out. They're out. Just avoid them. Let's fire Kidd in the offseason and then let's go from there. I think basically everybody who you think's going to make it into the play-in is going to make it into the play-in. Mm-hmm. Like OKC, I think they're young enough, they're good enough, going to make it into the play-in. They play good enough defense, going to make it into the play-in. And then out of that, I don't think they're going to go any further. So these play-in teams are just filter teams, I feel like, practice squad teams for the real playoff teams that are going to be better than these guys. So I just, I expect these play-in teams to be the young teams, like OKC, get this fresh legs in, and then you're here, and then the bigger brother comes and beats you up.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
For the 5-6 seed, who do you think doesn't have to play in those play-in games? You got Warriors, Clippers?
Yeah, I would say so right now. I don't think that's going to change at all. I just think the Clippers are super sound, the Warriors are super sound, and they know how to win, and they know when to win, when it is important to win in those games that they need to make sure that they're in that seed. And I just don't expect them to even want to be in the play-in, any of those players, so they will try to just their best to be out of it.
Yeah. Isaiah, looking at the play-in, who do you have in the play-in itself?
In the plan right now, I have the Lakers right now staying as the 7th seed. Just didn't like what I saw from their inconsistencies last night against the Clippers. And then that 8th spot, it's a little difficult to kind of decide right now between Minnesota and the Pelicans, two really good, young, underrated teams.
You might swap a little bit depending on these last 2 games.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota in that case, though. But if they do meet up in a potential playing game for that 8th seed, I don't know who wins that game. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Now, looking at the 10 in particular, that's the one that's a little close. It's OKC, the Mavs, and the Jazz are all in it for that one. Who do y'all have finally getting that 10 seed? Who's making it into the play in there? I know you said it wasn't the Mavs. Who's got
OKC.
it?
It's
OKC?
Yeah, I trust in Giddey and Dort and the big other tall guys that they have there. Can't remember the dude's name, but Pacilio, the clown or whatever.
Pokashevsky.
Pokachevsky.
There we go.
Exactly. He sounds like a clown. I just trust them more than I would trust anybody else on the Mavs roster aside from Luka and Kyrie. Like, the OKC has a full roster, I think. The Mavs do not.
I agree.
It's simple as that.
Staying in the Western Conference, let's take a look at the bracket. I know both of y'all set up some brackets. Isaiah, I'll start with your bracket. Looking at the West, who's made it to the Western Conference Finals?
So right now my Western Conference Finals matchup is the Suns. No surprise there, but to a few, maybe I have the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference Finals. When they were in the playoffs last year, a lot of injuries came their way. You had Desmond Bane with the back injury. That was an underrated part because he lost his shooting ability late in the season. And then when they play Golden State, John Morant gets hurt Game 3. He was averaging over 30 points per game.
He was crushing it. They blew out Golden State without him in Game 5, and then they just couldn't rally after that.
Yeah, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league. They have really good depth. Steven Adams should be back throughout these upcoming days. So I really think they're a Western Conference Finals team, even if they have to play the Lakers, a revenge game, the Shannon Sharp game, as I like to call it, or the Warriors game, Draymond versus Dylan Brooks. I think they win both of those
I love
series.
some Shannon Sharp. Matthew, who do you got in the Western Conference Finals?
Listen here, people. Look at me. Look, camera, look at me. I have the Kings and the Clippers. And people are going to hate on me, the Kings. The Kings? What? This team with Sabonis and Fox? Well, they beat the Lakers. You know, I feel like they actually have a pretty easy route if the Lakers end up beating the Grizzlies, which, surprisingly, I actually have the Lakers beating the Grizzlies. You know, I think the Lakers, just have more experience in Jared Vanderbilt. Adding Jared Vanderbilt, that's pretty big. Oh, wait, we have another guy in Anthony Davis. You know, Anthony Davis is a little softer now, but he can also play defense. He can guard Jaren Jackson Jr., who doesn't even play that much offense, And I think the Kings are just fast. I think the Kings are one of the fastest teams in the NBA, and that's super hard to slow down. And the only other team that I think that could have a chance of doing that is one of the better defensive teams, and that's the Clippers. So I have the Clippers versus the Kings, and I have the Kings actually beating the Clippers and the Kings versus the Bucks.
Nice.
Are we going to talk about the
Yeah,
East?
the Eastern Conference. Who do you got in the East? Give me a quick rundown of who you got in the Eastern Conference Finals before we get to the finals.
So I think that the East has a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics, the 76ers, possibly have the most pressure, and the Nuggets, if we're going to input pressure and stuff and talk about pressure, have the most pressure throughout the playoffs, those two teams. I think the 76ers will end up facing Milwaukee, and Milwaukee will end up stopping them like they normally do, and then the Milwaukee Bucks will end up being the NBA Finals.
I like it.
Against the Kings.
Isaiah, for you, who do you have in the East? Give me a quick rundown. Who wins your East to go against your West winner?
Yeah, I also have the Bucks. They're just really good. You can run a 10-man rotation with them in the playoffs, and I have no worries with it. Even with Chris Middleton, that was a really big issue on why they lost last year. Drew Holiday's back in all-star form. Brooke Lopez is playing the best basketball of his career. And Bobby Portis off the bench giving you 15, my 6th man of the year if we decided today. I don't know how any team in the East beats this team.
Sweet. Well, we'll get a deeper look into it in these next coming weeks as the playoffs actually unfold. But real quick, give me your one-word answer. Who's your way too early NBA Finals champion?
Oh, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? I like it. I think the Lakers have me hooked right now. I'm going to go ride the bandwagon all the way to the finals. Coming up next, we're going to make some more way too early predictions with the NFL. Way too early. Come back after the break to find out who we've got in the Super Bowl.
Live from UNT, it's Wheel of Culture.
Welcome back to Wheel of Culture. Our contestant is so close to solving this puzzle. But first, it's time to give the wheel a spin. Wow, you landed on London, one of the many places where you and your fellow students can go on a chance to experience new culture. But only if you can solve this puzzle.
I'd like to solve the puzzle. Study abroad.
That's correct. you just want yourself a trip to study abroad in London, England, and you can too. Just go to studyabroad.unt.edu to see deadlines and apply for scholarships. Get ready to study abroad.
Man, I have all these non-perishable food items, and I don't know what to do with them.
I don't have any food at all.
Do you have too many non-perishable goods?
Yeah.
Have you run out of food and can't get any more?
Yeah.
Well, don't have a cow. Head on down to the UNT Food Pantry. Located behind Crumley Hall and Diamond Eagle Student Resource Center, the Food Pantry is the place for UNT students to get all the food they need. You'll be utterly surprised by all the options they have there. From gluten-free to lactose intolerant, even vegan and vegetarian, they have it all. Go to studentaffairs.unt.edu/food pantry for more information.
Move on down to the UNC Food Pantry.
Back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Brandon O'Donnell, and we're going to try to pin the tail on the donkey here with the NFL. We're looking pretty far ahead. It's pre-draft, preseason, it's everything here. Joining me to talk about some of these way too early predictions, I've got Brandon Brown and Kendall Keaton. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Doing great.
Awesome,
Fantastic.
awesome. Well, looking at this 2023 season, go ahead and give me your breakdown of who you have winning each division. You can do it in whatever order you like. Brandon, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'm going to start with the AFC here. Winning the North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Winning the South, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hot take.
I like
AFC
it.
East, I've got the Miami Dolphins. And the AFC West, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dolphins over the Bills. What made you choose that?
This talented roster just looks way too good to not win a division at least once within the next 3 years. I also think the Bills are kind of going to suffer a Packers effect, where they get close in the playoffs, but ever so slightly they're going to be worse and worse. So I don't really see the Bills continuing to have this much success that they've had to this point.
Yeah, they've been front runners every season, haven't really capitalized on it.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to go ahead and move over to your NFC as well?
Yeah, for my NFC, for the North, I've got the Lions. The South, I've got the Panthers.
Oh, wow.
The East, I've got the Eagles. And the West, I've got the 49ers.
So with the Panthers, what makes you really excited about them? Is that #1 overall pick? Who are they taking?
I mean, I think they're going to take C.J. Stroud with that pick, and he's going to be the most pro-ready quarterback, ready to throw 3,000, 4,000 yards for him and a couple touchdowns. But the reason why I have them over every other team in this division is because there's just nobody else in this division that gets me real excited. I mean, the Buccaneers are going to be rebuilding. The Falcons still have a mile to go. And the Saints with Derek Carr, they might do some damage, but I overall think that move's going to be a flop, especially because that defense is 40 years old, it feels like, over in New Orleans.
Yeah, that division's turnover from Cam Newton, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady to Ritter, Baker Mayfield, and Derek Carr. It's a little rough. It used to be one of my favorite divisions. All right, Kendall, over to you. Give me a rundown of who you've got, AFC, NFC. Go for it.
Okay, for AFC, I have AFC East. I have the Bills winning. And then for AFC North is the Bengals. AFC South is Jaguars. And then the West is the Chiefs.
Nice. So you're a big Bills fan. I see you're choosing the Bills over the Dolphins.
Yeah,
What do you like so much about the Bills?
Josh Allen, he's a weapon, and
of
of course he has Stephon Diggs, and so of course there's some holes in their roster, and if they can fill that in with the draft, that they will be, I feel like, take over.
They're a very loaded team. They just haven't quite put it together yet.
Yeah.
Now, who do you have in the NFC?
For the NFC East, I have the Cowboys, of course, and the North, I have Vikings, the South, Saints, and the West, the 49ers.
Gotcha. I like the Saints pick with Derek Carr. They do have some good offensive talent there. Is that what you love about the Saints as well?
Yes. I think since they acquired him, they could do some damage. I feel like in that division, they don't really have like a set quarterbacks for like the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Panthers. So they should be able to dominate that.
I love it.
division.
Sweet. Well, on a lot of these teams, we've got a lot of talent, which means we get to pick out some MVPs here. Now, MVP front runner, I feel like it's almost always going to be Patrick Mahomes, but I'm going Joe Burrow here. I really believe it's Joe Burrow's year. Brandon, who do you have?
I think it's a little cold in here. I mean, do y'all feel a little cold? Because I think it's Joe Burrow taking this MVP. He's way too good to not take one.
He has to
right?
get at least one,
Yeah.
and he has the talent around him still to finally get it.
Oh, yeah,
He was
and that
close
team only
last
got
year.
better.
Yeah.
Like with the O-line upgrades, and there's just no way. This dude has the attitude of a beast, man. He's gonna take an MVP for sure.
I love it. Kendall, do you agree with us?
No,
Oh.
no.
Who are you going with? Who's your
I
front
have
runner?
Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's
of
got to
course.
be Mahomes. It's got to be.
Every time. He's a weapon himself. He's very top tier. He already has won 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls, and then 2 Super Bowl MVPs. So,
Sweet.
he has,
Well, those are definitely the big names in the NFL, but let's look at the dark horses. Who might you not think of that's going to win an MVP? Kendall, we'll start with you on this one.
I have Trevor Lawrence as my.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. Brandon, is that
I
yours
wrote
as well?
that one down too.
We got
I
2
agree
Trevor
completely.
Lawrence fans. I love it.
Dude, Trevor Lawrence, man. With that coach and those upgrades, he is going to be like the next Burrow, I think. Maybe not quite as good, but he's going to take that leap for sure. I mean, don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like after last season, he should come out. He has really high expectations for himself, his team, his coach. So.
All right, so I don't get roasted for it, I'm going to go and say mine's Russell Wilson, and that's all the time we have for this block. We're going to go ahead and get ready for a fun block looking at some of the best jerseys of all time in Major League Baseball. Come back after the break.
Can I see your voter registration, please? All right, you're good. No registration, no entry. All right. Let me see your voter registration card, please.
I'm not registered to vote.
No registration, no entry.
Dude, my friends are already in there.
No registration, no entry.
What the?
Join the club. Register to vote today.
Welcome back to SportsZone. We're going to go back in time a little bit and look at the MLB's history of jerseys in general and just pick some of our favorite ones. Joining me for this, I've got Amanda Malini and Mark Barrera. How are y'all doing today?
Doing great. You?
Awesome. I'm doing pretty good. Now, I'm a little bit newer to baseball, so the history isn't as much with me, so I had to look it up. So my picks might be a little obscure. Some of them, it might have been the first time I've ever seen it. But we're going to start from 5 to 1. My number 5. I've got the Houston Astros Tequila Sunrise jerseys. I love that. I love the jersey just as much as the drink. They're just beautiful. They're retro. They're cool. I love the 70s aesthetic to it. Amanda, what do you got?
So I had an honorable mention. I'm a big fan of the Canada Day jerseys that the Blue Jays wear. It's the only red jersey. It's an all red jersey that they'll wear, and I think it's kind of goofy because they're the Blue Jays. But nevertheless, my number 5 is the Tampa Bay Devil Rays with the like the gradient across the chest. Devil Rays. I like the hat that goes with it. Just top to bottom, I think that's one of my favorite. Obviously, one of my favorites of all time.
I love it.
For 5, I'm going to be a homer real quick. I got the Rangers powder blue ones. I just think these are a really different look from what the Rangers used to have because, you know, most of them are bland, especially the gray ones that they have. But I think this gives a nice pop to what the Rangers do, and I'm a homer, and I love powder blue. So
sweet.
I got the Rangers at 5.
Well, moving on to 4, I think this is probably my most basic of the uniforms, but it's a classic. It's the Chicago Cubs home jersey. I think it's got that classic look with the pinstripes, similar to the Mets and the Yankees, but I like their color theme a little bit better than I do for the Yankees or the Mets with the pinstripes and just the white and black of the pinstripes and the jersey on that one. I love it. Amanda, what's your 4?
My number 4 is going to be the 2023 Gold Houston, their like World Series special. I think it looks super slick in comparison to what they did in 2017, like the 2018 year. I like the little patch of gold on the back, the little patch of gold in the front, and the gold outline, and then the navy letters. I think it looks slick.
I like them. I think for my number 4, I got the Diamondbacks. 2001's the purple.
Those are
the
so
purple
good.
and black ones. I think these are some of the nicest ones out there.
Randy Johnson killing birds in those jerseys.
I think
my gosh.
these are real sleek. I like these a lot.
They do look good.
I love it. I think this next one, I don't know if y'all might turn on me or love this one or not. So for number 3, I've got the Phillies Powder Blues.
Those are good. Those are top tier powder blues.
I don't mind
Yeah,
those.
no, those
I
are
think
top
it's
tier
an
powder
interesting
blues.
color scheme. I could see how somebody could hate it. They could look at it and be like,
Yeah.
that is just awful. I think it works really well as a powder blue jersey.
Right. No, some teams have like, especially of recently, overdone powder blues. But those, I support that.
Yeah.
I think I support that.
A lot of the light blues are pretty ugly in my opinion. Amanda, who do you have for number 3?
I've got what other people have called ugly, which is the Washington City Connects. They're the cherry blossoms. It's all gray, got cream letters across the front with the pink cherry blossoms. I like it. The pants look cool. The socks look cool. I like the jersey obviously the most. The t-shirt version doesn't do it justice, so it's definitely a jersey.
The blossoms save that.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
The
No, it's like the
blossoms
hint
do,
of
yeah.
pink like really does it in. So.
Okay, for my number 3, I got a pretty basic one too. So I think I got to go with the New York Yankees. They're straight. It's just so historic. I know it's pretty basic, but it's one of the more historic jerseys of all time. So I think so many greats have worn it.
That's true.
And I have to go with the New York Yankees.
It's hard to not mention it here. I get it.
Yeah, they don't have to change them either.
They don't.
They've had that, and it's just been like that for forever, so it works out.
If they
well.
change, I think there'd be riots.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
It is a time.
Moving to my number 2, I love this one. I think this is one I really want to buy. It's the Rockies purple alternate. I just think the color is so bold, and it's just, I'm a big purple guy. I love the Rockies as well, one of my favorite teams. My brother's gone out to Colorado a few times to go see those games, so one of the few teams that I know a little bit about. I love this jersey.
Purple is good. I like the purple. My number 2 is the Orioles Maryland flag. They wore it for, frankly,
those
I
are
don't
dope.
know.
I haven't seen these before.
I
These are
like
dope.
it a lot. I think Texas could do something similar, and it would work really well. Because Maryland is just like kind of Texas, where they're super over the top about how much they like their state, I guess. And the cap is the same way as like the Orioles across the front there. Looks good.
Well, they are coming out with a new jersey soon. The Rangers.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
hopefully,
they might
dude.
implement that.
Oh
a
my
little bit.
gosh.
That'd be pretty cool.
For my number 2, I know y'all talked about the powder blues, how people can overdo it, but I think the Kansas City Royals powder blues are some of my favorite. I think these, especially when Bo Jackson won, these are so amazing.
Oh my gosh.
These are some that I really want to buy. These look amazing.
Those look good. Those look good.
I love that. You got to wear it next week.
I got to wear it? Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ship fast enough.
It might not ship fast enough,
Here,
but yeah.
so I'll allow it. All
right,
powder blues for that
gotcha.
week. All right, moving into the number 1. This one's awesome. I don't know what else to say. Whenever I was looking through jerseys today and going through it, I just had this one on my mind. It's the White Sox City Connect jersey. It's black and white, but it's just tough. It's bold. I love everything about it. It's just clean.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's just your eyes. I'm just pleased. I'm pleased to look at this. This is a blessing.
They're nice. They're really nice. Dude,
nice.
I so desperately wanted to put those on this list as well, but I went with the Houston brick red pinstripes from 2000 and 2012. I'm such a sucker for pinstripes. I could have had like six. I could have had 5 full pinstripe list and not had a problem, and I would have put them at number 2.
Honorable mentions for you, just pinstripes.
Yeah,
Pinstripes
all the
for every
time.
team.
Dude, but the Astros, the brick red, the script across the front, this is the Astros were terrible at this time, but this is my favorite era
They
of
were
Astros. Dude, they're god awful, like hot dog water, man. But I love these uniforms. I love pretty much everything out of this era, but definitely these.
I was going to say, is there any pinstripes you hate?
No.
It can't go wrong
You
with
always
pinstripes.
love
You
them.
really can't go wrong with pinstripes.
My number 1, I think mine is the same as yours, Brennan. These Southside ones are just so
I
They're
love it.
so
I
good.
love
They're
it.
so nice.
They're
I think it's
so
like
good.
one of the best baseball jerseys that ever have came out. So
Awesome.
I was
these
really impressed
Chicago
whenever
White Sox
they,
ones.
yeah.
I thought you were going to say you're impressed with my decision.
No, I'm impressed with your whole list. To be honest, if you're like, oh, I don't like baseball, dude, I was really
a good
impressed.
list.
Yeah.
It was a good list. Solid
Well,
list.
that's it. That's all the time we have for SportsZone today. That was a lot of fun. I loved that one.
Yeah, no, that was
I'm
great.
enjoying talking about baseball. More baseball in these next weeks to come. That's it. Thanks for watching SportsZone. Come back next week.